live, I believe. So, welcome to the Anarchimedes show. Today is October 9th, 2024. And I thought, yes, on episode 1, this is episode 2. On episode 1, we just jumped right in and did some ASMR to Zork, the great underground empire. And I thought, today let's do a little bit of an introduction. What is this channel, the Anarchimedes show? What is it all about? Why does it exist? Who is this guy with the beard and the long hair showing up on YouTube? And what's he all about? Anyway, so give it a little brief introduction to me. Suppose I should do a little bit of that. No, Anarchimedes is not my real name. But I do love the idea of the chaos mage. And what I do will be a little bit of this, a little bit of that. There'll be a little chaoticism to what we do on this show. The original idea for the show, you could say, spawned back in the 80s, but really gestated into what it is in 2020 during the pandemic and the quarantine, the shutdown, when everybody was locked up and locked up in their houses and needed a way to express and connect. And unfortunately at the time, wasn't able to get the channel going. But here we are, 4 years later, and we're kicking it off. So, who is Anarchimedes? He does like I said, he does a little bit of this, a little of that. He dabbles in a lot of things we won't even be touching in these videos. He is, I'm not going to toot my own horn on too much stuff. If you've been around the internet and been on YouTube for a while, you may have seen me on some other channels. We'll leave it at that. But the idea for this was originally to do video game reviews with retro games, mostly. And I thought specifically one of the things I could focus on differentiating this channel from other channels is plug-and-play games. For instance, I have right here... Ooh. Let's get him turned around the right way and stop banging on the desk. The SpongeBob, one of the first SpongeBob plug-and-play games. There's been many SpongeBob plug-and-play games that have been released over the years. This one has, I believe, five or six games on it. I think 5 games. And stay tuned. We'll show some of that on this channel. But some of those old plug-and-play games from the CRT era. You can see one of the SpongeBob's behind me, too. Up there by Mr. Meeseeks. That was a fun era to be in because video games were so readily accessible. I got to live through some of the coming in at the beginning of the video game, at the end of near the beginning of not the beginning of the video game revolution, but I remember I grew up in the 80s. I am a Gen Xer, and I remember gathering up quarters to go down to the local stores and the arcade at the mall to play some of those games. Not now games like Asteroids and Some of those really early vector line art games predate me just a little bit. But when I was very little, I remember my father coming home with a Fairchild Channel F. Now, for those of you who don't know what that is one of the first cartridge-based console systems for home use created. And I remember watching my older siblings play that, and by the time I was old enough to really grasp how to and had the dexterity to play some of those games, I don't think it worked anymore. Wish we still had that. Maybe one day I'll have a Channel F on this channel, and we can review that. And then the first computer we had was a Commodore VIC-20. And I self-taught myself how to program in BASIC on that, how to do a lot of things, and really started my love for computers. That kicked it off with those 8-bit computers. I grew up learning on Apple IIes, Apple IIs, Macs, as well as PCs. Spent many hours, of course, playing Zork and Burger Time on my friend's XT, IBM 5160, I believe it was. I don't believe it was a 5150. No, it wasn't. It was an XT. It was a 5160, though. I digress. I'll do that a lot. One of the reasons I wanted to start this channel was because to let the crazy out. So some of that will be coming out throughout the channel, especially as I progress and probably become more relaxed on cam. You may have heard the Napoleon Dynamite and caught the Napoleon Dynamite reference in episode 1. Yeah, a lot of weird stuff like that will come out. So, yeah, a little bit about my history with tech, electronics. You can see some of the other stuff that I'm into behind me. There are, which you may or may not be able to tell from the camera, the Legos behind me on the desk. Grew up building a lot of Legos. Now that I'm older and have the funds to feed that habit, it's a little more fun. So there might be some Lego builds, and we'll play around with that. Some people have requested some Lego build videos, along with the ASMR videos. That's one of the reasons I did that one first. Now, the Lego build station behind me, where you can see the ring light, is not quite set up. I need a cam over there when moving cams around in this office space in my studio. My studio is a little more difficult, so I'm just planning on right now, and that was the other thing I was thinking might be fun to do on this show, is some budget computing. How can I get something I can game on, I can do stuff on, budget-wise? And that's how a lot of the stuff came together. So you can tell my cam right now is not the best. It'll be upgraded. That's another thing we'll be doing on this channel, is upgrading the gear. Watching the studio be built from its somewhat humble beginnings to whatever it'll turn out to. We'll watch the gestation and the growth and development of this channel and what it evolves into. Will be fun. So, let's see. There is the plug and plays behind me, the computer parts, the Dungeons and Dragons manuals. Yes, I am a nerd. And a geek. I can't remember how you differentiate the definitions there, but I do play a lot of Dungeons and Dragons back from the early days of. I remember playing a lot with my friends, AD&D. and other role-playing games. But Dungeons and Dragons is one that is held through the generations so far. So there's that. There's let's go over the studio a little bit. I don't like talking about myself that much. I mentioned that my first computer that I remember having was a VIC-20. After that, we progressed to a 286 IBM clone. I still have that computer, Yield 286, and it still runs and functions. Although last time I took it apart to replace the Varda battery in it. And then maybe that's something else we'll do on this channel is some light modifications, light repair. I have a son-in-law who actually does mods and repairs, and I like to give him the business, so I won't step on his toes by doing stuff on my channel that would impact his business. I'd rather give him the business. But anyway, we might do some of that. I have Yield 286 after that Varda battery was replaced. I didn't get the drive hooked back up and have a little problems having the drive come back online after I switched out some of the floppies for emulators, for Gotek emulators. But anyway, that will be maybe I'll bring that out on the channel and we can look at the 286. But I have a special place in my heart for those old computers, the old 8-bits, those early PCs, and gaming on those was especially fun back in the day. So now around the studio here, there are actually, you can see two of the stations behind me. I'm sitting at the main station, of course, which is controlled by the high-end computer I built for myself. High-end. It's a few generations old at this point. Has been dubbed the monolith. It's in a full tower case. So for those of you who know how big a full tower case can be, it is a Fantex Enthu Primo. So I wanted to have the front bays, the 5 1/4 bays. That was important to me. It's a water cooled machine with AIOs, with an AIO on the 5950 Ryzen 9 5950X, as well as running a Radeon RX 6900 XT that is liquid cooled with an AIO. It's the ROG Strix version of that. Long version short. I don't want to give NVIDIA my money. A little bit of an AMD fan, but that can change. I used to be an Intel fan up through Pentium 4s. I'm not too discerning, but there are some companies that I just don't want to give money to. And I can get hate for that in the comments, in the chat. Yeah. This is the second episode of the video. We have a whole of 0 viewers going right now. But yeah, the monolith. We have the monolith who controls all this fun stuff here. And so it does the video capture, any video editing. Now, of course, my videos are unscripted, unedited, and unrehearsed. So you get what you get, and that's why sometimes they go a little off the rails. They might go a little long. We'll see how long this one goes. We're already in it about 20 minutes, and I haven't even gone through the studio yet. So let's start with the studio with the CRT station. I needed something that I could use for hooking up the plug and plays. I needed something I wanted to that would show things period correct if I was to hook up old NES's, Sega Genesis's, my VIC-20s. I have two VIC-20s. One of them is in pristine, immaculate condition. The sticker on it matches the sticker on the box. And it works beautifully. I don't think it's even ever been restored. Just clean. And I have another one that has some problems. That one will be getting modded, and hopefully when it comes back, we'll be able to showcase that. It'll be getting a full mechanical keyboard, many of the chips replaced, and recapped, among other things. Now, so I needed the CRT station. So, on the CRT, we can, if necessary, just jump over to the CRT here, which we have Sonic playing on. Sonic 3, just ride the title, the introduction title screen, play through a demo. But we have the Sega Genesis. We will be doing, again, the reviews of plug and plays and anything from the CRT era of gaming. And you can also see that there is a cam set up there. Bump the desk, bang the mic. But anyway, Sonic 3, just this is and it shows up so great. You don't get the scan lines on the video, but the colors and everything show up just pristine and correct on the video capture. My CRT, if I get a camera around there so you can see the screen of it, has a little bit of a red shift, blue shift. No, it's not going away. Or coming towards us very fast. Yeah, but it does, the colors do tend to bleed towards the red side, and I've adjusted it as much as I can. It might need some internal adjustment. I do not know anyone who repairs TVs anymore. But, so video capture from the CRT is fairly decent. And there we have Sonic. And that is actually right to my right on the other side of the monolith. Now, moving on, the other thing that we needed a station for was for VGA signals. One of the projects I have that will probably be shown on this channel when I have all the pieces collected, and maybe even before all the pieces are collected, before it's built, I have a 486 DX2 66 megahertz build for the computer I always wanted in high school. We used some 386s. And people were gaming on those, playing Wolfenstein 3D. And I wanted a 486 that would just scream and could do anything I wanted. I had that 286 at home, and I could not play Wolfenstein on that. So, we have a VGA station. That will also will have the cam on that station, on that desk will plan to have it double as an overhead cam, so we can do computer builds, Lego builds, and other flat things on that station. Now, so we can jump to that station, and now the cam is still showing up the cam from the CRT, but here we have. But you can see the station behind it in the picture there, with the Commander X16 hooked up. And loaded right now is Attack of the Pesky Robots. So you can see there that we have you have a skeleton in the background. You know what? I totally totally forgot to do this. That's okay. We'll come back to that. We'll do that at the end. To kick off the channel, we have Scully here on my desk who needs to relax. The plan is at the beginning of the channel, at the beginning of each episode, we will give Scully his chance to relax, and you don't know what I'm talking about because the cam isn't on me. We're still looking at Petsky robots, but we'll take care of that at the end of this. So this is the VGA station, as well as the build station, and of course the Commander X16 will be moved. We just move that out of the way when we're doing builds and whatnot, and then when we're doing other things that hook up to VGA, like the 486 it will sit there, and that will be interesting because that is a full tower case as well for an AT style, AT format case. And I'm realizing I have a type when it comes to computers. I like them big with a door and bays. Anyway, back to the main cam. That is the VGA station. Last but not least, we have the HDMI station, and hooked up to that is my Windows 7 machine. Now the station, of course, is for anything running VGA, HDMI, the HDMI station. That would include both the Windows 7 machine, which will eventually be being upgraded. This has been loaded with so many games and so much software that it's to the point of instability. It's been modded a little bit. The VGA, I'm stuck on that. The graphics card has been replaced. RAM has been expanded. I planned to upgrade the processor in it, but this thing has just been, and to swap out the drives from mechanical spinning platter drives to solid state drives. But at this point, it's just easier just to build a new Windows 7 machine. And Windows 7 is great because it'll play most Windows XP games, and was before everything started going so online, where you can't have software that exists on your computer and will run without internet connection. And this is great for emulation, great for older stuff. I also have my Desk Pi 4 up here. That's HDMI. Playing around with Pi OS and seeing what we can do with there. We'll also have the PlayStation 3 hooked up here. We'll do probably some playthroughs and reviews of one of my favorite games, Red Dead Redemption. Just a fun game. So that is, and showing the HDMI station without actually showing the HDMI station. Oh boy, let's turn that down a little bit. So we have Project Brutality 2.0 loaded up. Love Doom. Especially playing Doom mods. Now I have a lot of Doom mods. We will be playing some Doom mods. Don't need to step on Icarus's feet. Check out his channel, Icarus Lives. He reviews Doom and Doom mods. And that's what got me really into modding Doom. A lot of fun. So, prepare to see a lot of Doom mods. None with a Gun is one of my favorites. We'll probably be playing a lot of None with a Gun. So that's the HDMI station. We got some better graphics. We're moving up the timeline, up the chain, through better and better video games and graphics and just tech that can push some of that fun. And last but not least, we come to the main station here, the monolith. What can the monolith do? Well, it's video capturing all of that right now. It is streaming this video, and if we need to, we can jump over and we have Baldur's Gate running in the meantime. I was going to bring up Doom Eternal, but Doom Eternal does not like you to be able to click off of it now, so I can easily bring my mouse on here and bring it back over to my second screen. The monolith, I told you a little bit some of the specs, what we're running on here. We have that Ryzen 9 5950X, the RX 6900 XT. We have 128 gigs of G-Skill, 36 3600, 128 gigs of RAM in there, and a few terabytes of storage. And we're pushing two screens, both Samsung Odysseys. Both of them running 240 hertz, but one of them is a 32-inch 4K, and the second screen is a 27-inch 2K. And as I'm streaming, I'm realizing, you know what, a third screen would be really, really useful. But just figuring out where to put it. If I was to move the camera, you would see that there's about a 6-inch gap between the end of this 32-inch screen for the HDMI station and the 32-inch screen for the monolith. And the 27 is right next to it. So running out a little bit of real estate here, but such as it is. Now, we've been streaming for about half an hour, and we've gone over some of the stations here. We're not hearing any of Baldur's Gate playing, but we're not listening to it. What's up with that? We'll just sit here and enjoy that for a little bit. No, I'm just kidding. We don't need to enjoy Baldur's Gate anymore. We'll just click off of that and I'm going to go ahead and quit out of Baldur's Gate here, just because it frees up my screen so I can see the stream, see the chat, and other stuff. And again, that's why a third screen would be really useful. So hopefully you can also see behind me that the computer boxes, that gigabyte screen box just really stands out there. That gigabyte MSI, you can't see it behind the Windows 7 machine, but hopefully we'll be doing some builds on this channel. We have a few things a few computers that are in process. For instance, some of the things you might be able to look forward to as funds come in and parts can be gathered. One of the next ones to go is going to be a more modern gaming machine. I need someone near and dear to me whose hard drive has died, needs a new computer. Theirs is old and dated and will not play Fortnite anymore. So we will be building a Ryzen 5 5600X machine with what is planned is to a B550 motherboard with a 7600 XT. It's running 16 gigs of VRAM. It should be a good gaming machine. It's an AMD machine. Especially now, why am I running a 5600X instead of something newer, faster? Well, we've seen the problems that Intel's been having with the last 2 gens. I'm not saying AMD's having those problems, but when the AM5 platform released and motherboards were burning and popping processors, I'm like, you know what? I don't need to be on bleeding edge right now. There is still plenty of the older generations that will run everything that we need to, everything that most people need and most gamers need. Heck, I'm not even running the latest gen, and I'm running 4K at 240 hertz. Smooth graphics and will run just about anything I want to throw at it. Now, I have not tried any of the newest AAA games, but we'll see. Maybe I'll have to build another computer. But we have that one. That will be the next one. We have the Windows 7 replacement. Now, when I was looking for parts for that, I ended up with getting multiple parts. So there might be 2 Windows 7 builds. It'll probably run Windows 10, but it would be on the low end, I think. So we have those. We have a Pentium 4 build. We have a couple Pentium 4s in storage, and they would just make some great Windows 98 machines. And let's see, what else do we have other than the 486? Just a lot of... Yeah. I have a problem with collecting computers. Anyway. Yeah. Because back in the day, back when I had that 286, I wanted to have a BBS page. I just thought that would be the coolest thing. Back before the so-called internet and web pages, existed the BBS, the bulletin board system, and computers could dial up on each other on their phone lines and talk to each other and share data, share files, share information. And much like having a web page, you could have a BBS page, a BBS, a bulletin board. And hopefully for the commander back there, I'll be getting a modem, and we'll be checking out the commander bulletin board system at some point. We'll see. So many projects, so little time. These videos will be coming out hopefully at least once a week, possibly twice a week. It depends. My schedule outside of streaming is a little more congested, but be that as it may, we will do what we can do. Hopefully the channel will gain some followers, gain a little traction, and we'll have some fun doing this. Cardinal rule: if we're not having fun, we stop doing it. Because one of the main reasons for doing this was for my own mental health. Let the crazy out. Have some place to have fun. So, with that being said, look forward to the continuation of Zork. We'll continue where we left off there with doing some ASMR readings, as well as checking out some video games and some Legos, and again, like it says in the description, whatever else happens to strike my fancy at the time. We've been streaming now for a little over half an hour, getting close to 40 minutes. We won't stretch this out too much longer. We appreciate, the royal we, appreciate everyone who ventures in, stumbles upon this video, happens to like it, and if they feel so inclined, subscribe. Now, there's no Patreon. We don't do this for the likes or the subscribes. We do this for the fun of it and as a place to just vent, let the crazy out. And if you don't mind ambient mutterings of an insane chaos mage, this is the place for you. with that, we will say farewell for today. Thank you for joining us. Oh, and with the last celebration, we have Scully, the incense burner. He needs his relaxation smoke. So to kick off the channel, which will hopefully this will be a tradition that'll kick off the episodes, we will give Scully his smoke, light the incense, and welcome to the Anarchimedes show. Thank you for joining us. Farewell.